Welcome back to another episode of Unlocking Venture Capital. I'm Sydney Wong. I'll be your host today. And today we have these two amazing founders who are going to introduce themselves. So Mustafa Okan, would you like to give the audience a little bit of background of what you're working on?
Yeah, I'm business administrative graduated. I born and studied in Istanbul, but I live in Munich for 4 years. I've been working in this company for 1 year as a business development manager in EMEA region. I'm responsible to build the businesses in here with dealers and partners, that kind of things.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah. Hello. Thank you so much for today's podcast. And I'm Mustafa and I'm CEO and co-founder at IWROBOTX company. And we work on real-time location tracking services. And we have two operational companies. One of them is in Turkey, another is in Munich. And we are running for investment nowadays. Yeah.
Sounds good, which is why we are here today. So I'm going to share the screen and we're going to review your deck, and I will go over exactly how an investor normally would go through your deck, what kind of questions and things like that we would ask. So basically the idea is, okay, well, what would be our first set of due diligence questions in order to get you to the next rounds, yes or no? And as you were sending your deck out, which is exactly what you did when we were at Web Summit, just kind of make sure that your story all aligns and that all of the most important information is there. I understand that from then until now, you probably have had some updates. So we're going to go over that at the end, or maybe they're going to answer some of the questions I would already have about your business to start with.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so the first thing I see is that, good, they already have their website up and ready, and they have a way for me to contact them. So that's fantastic. So I would look up their background and I would look up everything that I can on LinkedIn and do some secondary research myself. If there's anything that's kind of fishy off of the back, that would be point number one. So this is kind of going through what normally anybody would go through in any kind of investment firm, especially if you're at the associate or analyst level, because these are more of the deep dive analytics that you would go through anyway. So track and manage everything that creates a carbon footprint on a single platform. All right, great. So this is fantastic because this is something that is really trending right now. There are a lot of especially roles within venture investing that is really targeting towards impact as well as, climate focus and carbon focus, especially because these are industries that have a lot of great funding across all different countries. So why that's important is that as a company like this would be expanding, they can take advantage of a lot of capital efficient grants, as well as having great partners to open doors for them within the different kinds of geographical sectors. So let's see where they're at and let's see what they're building. So RTLS problems in industry. So resort hotels have very inefficient processes for employees, inventory, kids club managements. I don't know what a kids club management is, but I think I will find out. Because they are very busy seasonally. Okay, yeah, that's great. That makes a lot of sense. Resorts are a very seasonal industry. We focus on resort industry. All right, so going from left to right, which is how we would normally read it in terms of the number of employees and everything. So warehouse is asset tracking, employee tracking. Okay, great. Oil and gas, asset tracking, employee tracking. 20% time waste per year, 30% time waste per year. Okay, so they're telling me that these are the different industries that have these inefficiencies and that they're wasting an X amount of time per year when it comes to tracking inefficient processes. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and see if I can figure this out and how they're going to relate it back to carbon footprint. Okay, so in terms of time waste per year, that's an interesting metric because that's not the first one that I would come up with, but I'm sure that they have a very good reason as to why. So in terms of retail, I presume that they're talking about really big retailers within the different sectors. And hospitals, that's very straightforward. Employee customer tracking, great. Resorts is kid tracking. Okay, now I understand where their kids club management comes from. And asset tracking and management, employee tracking management, customer analytics, 45% of the time waste per year. Okay, so that's interesting. So they're getting a time waste per year as their problem focus in terms of how big of a problem is for this particular industry. Okay, so let's go further into what that means and why that is a really big problem. Okay, so yes. All right, so the solution technology. So that's the problem that they're trying to solve, time waste per year. And then their solution is customer Wi-Fi signals over smartphones. All right, so there's a tracking system on the user level. 1 in 5 kids in the resort lost. One of 5 kids in the resorts lost,
Yeah,
and employees spend too much time to find the kids. We have that.
yeah, 20%.
20% of children are lost in hotels?
Yeah, in the
yeah.
hotel, yeah.
That feels like it's a huge amount, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah, we want to solve this problem with our solutions, and we have a lot of use cases when we go to the resort hotels, and then when we ask this question,
Yes,
is there any kids lost?
I believe you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that when I first read things, I will always believe what's on the slide in front of me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry that I'm not believing you. It just seems like an outrageous number. I guess this is something parents don't advertise about their parenting. So if you have different IT structure and you need one platform for asset management, okay, so we see that, of course, this is a big problem. So people who are working at these resorts should have a platform where they can track people, lost things or lost people, and a lot of other things as well. So no matter what infrastructure you have, such as QR code, yeah, you can manage your system in a single platform. Okay, so this is interesting. So why that's interesting is that you have a lot of different ways and sources to be tracking everything in one place. I don't know why you would need to do that, but I'm guessing that there is a very specific reason, such as that there's already an incumbent system in place where they're using this system or that system or that system, and then you want to make it easier for the users or the management team to be able to put everything in one place already, so they don't have to be retrained on a completely different system. So if it's one of those kinds of things where you're plugging into their security system or their whichever kind of management platform, then that makes a lot of sense. With Wi-Fi signals of smartphones, okay, yes. Yeah, okay, so I guess if we're talking about the resorts, if I were to invite the startup founders back, I would be asking them, okay, well, where are the geographical resorts that you are looking at? Because Wi-Fi signal, from my experience, is not great everywhere. And so it must be somewhere that has a lot of high traffic. It must be somewhere that has good Wi-Fi signal in order for you to be using this as your base or using this as your proof of concept. And of course, they have to lose enough kids and other things for it to be a big enough problem at these types of resorts. So it must be a very specific kind of low-hanging fruit situation for this part to work. And I presume that that is what they would have. All right, with patented bracelets, kids tracking real time. All right, so kids healthy tracking, I guess, is what it's supposed to say. I'm not sure what that is or how you have healthy tracking, but the patented bracelets, I think that's really interesting. So the bracelets will go on all of the kids, okay? Not just the ones that are not lost, just like all of the kids that go to the resort, I presume. So that's interesting. And then there's a video. Okay, great. And your video works. Awesome. Because sometimes the links are sent to us and they never click. Okay, so this is great. I love the fact that there are like heat maps and everything so we can see and get a feel for what the platform does, and we can have an experience with the platform without having to log in just yet. And I also like that there are case studies right up here, which is very, very clear because it shows that this is really well researched, and that's fantastic. Yeah, I'm not really, I guess we'll go back into later what the kids' healthy tracking is. And then would all kids need it, including like babies, or is there like a age range? I'm guessing that comes later as well. With one platform for inventory management, okay, life cycle management, carbon cycle. I would like to know a little bit more about the carbon cycle because I thought that's what the original problem was supposed to be. Inventory tracking management. Okay, so up to now, if I were to read this, I would call in a colleague because I'm not 100% sure in terms of the problem versus the solution. They both seem to be really big problems that you're trying to solve, but I don't know that there's a match in the most direct way in terms of the first 3 slides. Okay, so let's keep going because I think maybe that will answer the questions. All right, competitor slide. Love this slide, because it tells me a lot about the market and it tells me how the market is growing and how competitive it is. So I know that this startup already has patented technology in terms of the hardware. I will look into what kind of patents they are. Are they utility patents, and how many of them are there, and what geography it holds? Because if you're looking at resorts, you're looking at a lot of different kinds of countries, not just the one that you're operating in, right? And if that is going to be protected in the customer's countries as well. So patented, unique, love that. It's like those menus that tell you what is the most important things you should look at. So this really does draw the eye, and whoever designed this, I think, did a great job. Competitor, you should check up on this. Okay, so competitor, indoor 5.0, that's you, good. Okay, so you have this, you have Wi-Fi. Okay, so these are the ways that you are taking in information. Okay, great. Okay, so most of what I'm seeing is that the other competitors don't take in information as well as you do. So you're taking it through Wi-Fi, you're taking it through Bluetooth, you're taking it through QR codes and all of these things, right? That is really great. But I also want to know a lot more about how your analytics, your outcome, your output of information is going to be much more helpful, much more effective in solving this problem. Because the problem isn't that they are not able to take in information as well as as well. But the problem that you're trying to solve, from my understanding, is in terms of percentage of time wasted, right? So in terms of the competitors, how are they so much more inferior in terms of percentage of time wasted? So I would like to know that. And that would tell me a lot if you can give a little bit more details, maybe just on this side, like make the bar, just make it bigger, and tell me in terms of time wasted as well, because here you have your accuracy, which is fantastic. That's what you need. And then cost per meter square, which is also great. But yeah, just have a little bit more information about the outcomes and why that outcome matches the problem you're trying to solve. Core technology we have developed, we provide services our competitors cannot. Yes, that is true. Provide features with patented technology, that is also true. That is great. So if the startup was invited back, we would of course be reviewing their patent and how strong it is and what is being protected and those kinds of things too. Unique core technology with flexibility, with software infrastructure, every IT technology that can be used in its infrastructure development of technology is 3 times cheaper than the closest competitor. So that's really great, but you don't need it in this slide. So this, in terms of the core technology and features and everything, just because it's so squished, you can just put it on a separate slide to tell about your patented technology and IP, because you do have something that is more product focused. So product focused kinds of companies can just have its own slide to talk about that. That makes a lot of sense. And then in terms of that, you also then would like to focus your target on investors that are also more product focused, which is not all of them. Okay, so we make great partnerships with IT leaders in the industry. Great, we're expanding our solution in the EU and MEA market. So I presume those are the resorts in EU and MEA. That is how I'm reading it. Okay, let's see if it's true. Okay, so 2020, you have partners here and customer tracking module launch. Great. Okay, your unique solution for Cisco in the EU. Okay, great. In your strategic timeline, if you also have things like you've won awards or you have significant grants or recognitions, I would add that in here as well, because that would look really great for you. BAE, soft, okay, partnership with EU market. Okay. I would like to know a little bit more about these different partnerships and how they're really helping you. So I understand that the partnership for the resorts, for example, they're helping you by giving you the test market, by giving you the clients and end users to use. So like what happens when, you know, the kid breaks your bracelet? What do you do then? And does it show up on the dashboard? And do you have some kind of liability or insurance or those kinds of things? So all of that comes out from having these kinds of tests, right? But I would like a little bit more information. For example, Google AI collaboration. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a program. I don't know if they are giving you a package as a partner, as a Google partner. And if so, how does that help you, right? And how does that make your technology or your product better? How to acquire customers. Love this. Not enough people have this slide. Great job. Okay. We have a sales team. Good. We sell our products with our sales team to customers. That makes sense. We're working directly with channels. Okay. So if you have any indication of your cost of customer acquisition for each of these channels, that would be great, because it shows that you've done it a few times. You had a few runs to be able to know your average cost of customer acquisition for each of these channels. 7 channels to gain customers. Yes. Yes, I know social media and websites going to be a little bit harder because you're selling like B2B essentially. So all your sales are really through partnerships and enterprise. So that's going to be a little bit harder because nobody goes on a Facebook group and then just says like, come to all of my hotels. So that's probably not going to happen, but it does have associated source costs. So you can have touch point costs that you can associate on this part. Our partners can bring customers to us. Yes. Don't say our partners can bring customers to us, because like you're explaining potential. So if they have brought customers to you, just say our partners bring customers to us. Like that's it. And if they brought one, then that makes this true. And if they don't bring customers to you, they're I don't know why they're here then. I don't know what they're supposed to do. They please explain your partnership. We have distributor channels. Our distributors sell our products. Distributors sell our products. You're going to have to explain this a little bit more. I kind of see it as like a wholesale kind of distribution model where you're giving it to them for lower costs, and they're either white labeling it or they're going to be like they're white labeling it under a different name and then selling it for you, giving you part of the either like revenue share or something like that. Or they are selling it like they have their own channels to sell it, and they kind of need your product to sell it as a bundle or as an individual standalone. So I would love to see more information about that. And it's a very interesting channel to go through distribution in this way. Okay, so market size, great. We have 2 legal companies. Okay. You don't have to tell me that. Okay, so you have 2 companies, just tell me what they do. And we focus on resort, hotels, and entertainment centers. We have resort hotel customers and potentially have in Turkey, we're expanding our solution. Okay. I need more from this. Okay, where do you grow and how? So target is resorts. All right, so you've given me a bunch of countries for resorts. Great. So Turkey has 1,850 resorts. Currently, you guys own 10% of the customers, 10 customers. That's good. Currently, 1 direct sales manager, 2 sales plan, increase the number of sales. Okay, so it kind of looks like you have quite a heavy sales team in order for this model to work per geography, because they don't currently like own any particular market unless there's some kind of distribution deal where they own like a giant continent of a market for some way of doing it, because it looks like it's really like a boots on the ground situation. So I would ask a little bit more about that. Egypt, 1,350 resorts, potential 3rd country. Okay, interest, direct sales manager. Okay, and the budget for full-time sales manager is 22,000 USD, 88,000 sales plus travel. Okay, for full-time people, is 22,000 USD. I presume that that's converted back into US dollars, but it's their regular pay in their country dollars or their country currency, equals 88 for sales plus travel is 100,000 in US dollars. Okay. But it seems like, for example, for Turkey, there is 1 direct sales manager and then 2 sales partners. I would say that the sales manager for 22,000 US dollars is the one that's in Turkey. And then the 2 sales partners, I don't know how much that is because it doesn't say. There's a search sales partner / solutions partner in respective countries. Yes, but there is no budget for that. If there is no budget for that, I would not understand how much that's supposed to be, because that all tells me what is going into the cost of customer acquisition for that area. And it might not even be for the whole country. It might just be for resort areas, which may only be like around the beaches or around like very touristy areas, right? Wherever that may be. And so kind of how does that look like to you? So yeah, so I would need more information about that. The only budget that's given is for the sales manager, and there isn't budget given for the product development, the sales partners, or anything else. Okay, so if you were to presume, if you were to make a best guess estimate, which is that the sales partners may make roughly the same as a sales manager, it would be $66,000 US per year. And so for them to, I don't know how much the technology costs, but for them to be able to even break even, that's your minimum amount. And that's not including the travel, it's not including the fixed costs and all of those things. So that would be a big ask in terms of how you're expanding. And so let's go in further and see what their investment ask is and where that's going, because maybe that will tell me the rest of the information about what this is. Yay, team slide. Okay. I do not like to read sideways. Maybe some people do. I assume you've ran out of space. Okay, so we have AI team in China, 1 Harvard alumni, 1 product owner, good R&D team, and deep sales strategic team in Turkey. Okay, fantastic. So, all right. So I love that you have your LinkedIn already linked in each of them. That is fantastic. So the founder, co-founder, business development, 5 years. Okay, perfect. Excellent. Okay. All right. So in terms of where they have worked in terms of business development, I think that is really important to know. Are these the sales managers for 22,000 per year? Maybe. Are they the ones that are currently in Turkey? Maybe. And then and then do they specialize in selling to resorts? Yes or no, right? So if they are specialized in selling to certain other sectors that are also part of your plan, but just not your first target market, then that's great. But if they are there at this time versus later, that's probably something to bring into question a little bit. I love that the CEO and CTO have a lot of great experience that is very relevant to their roles. If any of them have startup experience, so they've worked in a startup before, they've exited a startup, they've worked in a startup that has raised or things like that in a C-level position, I would highly recommend to please write that in, because it tells us that you've already done this, this, and this before, whether it worked or not. But the point is, you don't need to be retrained in this, this, and this. You already know the steps. You already know what the negotiations look like. You already know what raising future rounds look like. And you already know how to tranche your investments and everything, right? So that's why I said whether it worked or not in the past, if anyone has relevant startup experience, that is a great thing to write here. Oh, I love that you have financial projections. Most people don't send that. Okay, so we made great financial progress in 2023. We believe that we're going to achieve much better targets in 2024. Fantastic. Okay, so let's take a look at it. So you have a software product installation, 1 user license fee monthly. Okay, so I presume that it's like per user, per enterprise that's using it. So in this case, it will be per hotel. So the AP license per month, oh, it's very, very affordable. Okay, great. So most of it is their software installation fee, because their monthly fees for the software is pretty affordable. Okay, great. And I would probably track what is laundry tracking and why is that the most expensive thing I've ever seen. I don't know what that is. And I don't think that it's been written anywhere else on the other slides, but I would love to learn more about it. Okay, expenditures. So you have the founder's capital. scalability, seed investment. So they're looking for about $3 million right now. They have their EBITDA, which is great. So how I would normally do it if they do have all of this information is that I would probably do an earnings times to find the valuation to see where they're at now, and then also go back and check to see their customers. So actually call up the resorts and see how they're using it, see how successful it is, see how the kids like it, and see how the platform is doing in terms of the pilot projects, because it does look like they have already made sales. So that's really great to do that. The 3x revenue for their valuation isn't bad, but it's just that because the expenditure is so high, that's kind of why I would normally use the earnings instead of the revenue. And it's probably higher because they are very heavy on labor. Okay, so here you have your huge on sales and marketing. That makes a lot of sense. So for your rounds, okay, great. So they showed us like what they already did with their previous rounds and everything provided by founders and other early investments. That's great. If they had any other grants and things like that that also came in, or R&D tax credits, just put that in as well, because it looks very good. I love that there's an investment summary page. So there is a software startup that was found from business angels and VCs. Our team is strong with the R&D, focused on real-time location services. Yes. 7 customers already signed up for a subscription in our assets. Okay, perfect. So if it's 7 customers and it's like 7, I assume, hotels, not individual humans, please tell me in terms of revenue how much that is. Your first 7 is hitting this much, kind of a thing, because then it tells me more about where you are here. Okay, patent 1. All right, that answers that question. We're fully bootstrapped, reach profitability by 2022. Amazing, and we plan to. Okay, great. So it does look like they are in the phase of the correct part of the hockey stick, because you do want to be investing in scaling startups, even at the pre-seed and seed stage these days, because funds are getting more conservative. So they're looking very hard on your financial statements. The fact that they have already presented flat out, these are our projections, these are our statements, this is what's already happened, shows that they have already done quite a bit of the work, which is really great. And then to be able to kind of dig in and do your own analysis would make it a lot easier for us. Okay, so references. Okay, fantastic. And then exits. Ah, fantastic. This is really great. This was actually one of the things that years ago, when I was interviewing for a fund, they made me do this exercise to be like, here are a bunch of startups. Who do you think should buy them out? And then you had to go and figure out from IPO'd companies, which one would most likely buy out this startup, and then do a realistic, pessimistic, and optimistic kind of observation and analysis of which one do you think would give what valuation to this kind of a startup, and therefore work backwards on how this startup is the most investable at this stage and why. So this is a very interesting and excellent activity that I commend a startup has done, and I rarely ever see this. So this is great. All right, perfect. So we have about 5 minutes left. I want to thank you guys for your patience and for your share. And I would like to give you the time to tell me how you felt about the feedback and what your initial thoughts were, and any updates you'd like to share.
Yeah, thank you so much for all details, and it's great feedback for us. And yeah, we review all of this, and then because we work on this kind of presentation for investment side, and then we updated all slides right now, and then everything is clear on new slide. But actually, this is great idea, and this is great feedback. Thank you so much for all feedbacks. And we put a lot of details on the slide, and right now we make a simple slides for everything, for financial side, and everything is clear on it. But yeah, and this slide is explaining a lot of things and a lot of technical things. But yeah, thank you so much for all feedbacks. Yeah, that's great for us.
And what will you have to say?
I think you have some questions about like health management, what it means, and like laundry tracking. Health management is when the kids are registering in the hotel, We give them bracelets, and
Okay.
we put the information about the kids there. So if they have any allergic, the hotel personnel can scan it and with their device, and they can act like that.
Okay, so it's your onboarding process.
Yeah, onboard processing, and laundry tracking is also, there is it's more expensive because there is a big device there. So you put the laundry in there. So
You put a device on every piece of laundry for a guest?
yeah, it's like you can knit it. It's washable. So like
No,
towels,
But
every
why
kind of.
did you want to do that as part of your business model? Is that really bringing you more revenue? Like, is it a big problem that I lost 3 socks at my last hotel?
Yeah, some hotels need it. They
Okay.
ask it, so we create a solution for them.
And they're willing to pay that amount because it was 70,000 euros.
To be honest, they mostly pay for our other services, but we have that also solution.
So be careful where you are expanding and where you are building, right? Because everything's going to cost you money. So if you're very capital efficient, go towards the things that are bringing you revenue and incentives, right? If they're asking for it and they're not paying for it, they're really telling you a story. If they're not paying for it today, they may be telling you a story because it is quite heavy in terms of the, like, I'd rather lose a few of my clothing than lose a kid, probably. I don't know. I don't have kids, but I'm guessing other people think the same way. But if you're telling me that one is going to cost like 5 to 10,000, the other one's going to cost 70,000, then I feel like you might get a few questions from investors. You might. May I ask you, what does this first sentence mean? It's driving me crazy. Track and manage creates a carbon footprint on a single. I thought this was an impact startup when I first read it. And I was
we put some kind of reports on our platform, and then we can create carbon footprint with our platform.
But that's not what the solution that you're really trying to put out there, though. You can do that, but that's not what you're focusing on.
Yeah, actually, when the customer use our solutions, and then they can create the carbon footprint for this kind of solution, and then they can see what is the real impact, and then they can make a report for this kind of solution. Yeah.
Are they asking for this report? Are they paying you for this report? Because I only see the word carbon here and then right here and then nowhere else.
Yeah.
Did I miss it?
For example, if the hotel has 1,000 television or something relevant assets in the hotel, and then they want to track the television maintenance services and other services when the televisions come to the hotel, and then they want to track all process regarding televisions. When they make this kind of process, we can create carbon reports for what is the processes.
Have you already built this tracking for carbon?
Yeah.
And it's being used right now in your pilots?
Yeah, actually, our pilot customers use this solution right now, and
because it doesn't tell me how much it costs. Like here, it doesn't tell me how much that costs.
Yeah, maybe we can make one row, and then we can put the carbon footprint.
So what I would ask from you, I mean, you don't have to do it for me, but what I would suggest here is not only just put your carbon footprint, if that's the report that you're selling, write everything that you're selling, but write everything that is the most popular, or just put like an arrow that you guys have been doing all over your slides. This is the most popular. This is our flagship. And it would help highlight things, because when you get your first investments, they come in tranches. You don't get them all at the same time, right? So you have to build, prove, get investment, build, prove, get investment, build, prove. So you want to do that with the things that are the most